I've been running for so long, but now I've lost control. The shadows of my failures haunt me every night, but I'm reaching for your mercy, I'm longing for your light. Oh, I'm broken, torn apart, but I know you mend the hardest heart. If this is my last prayer, Lord, take it all. I lay my burdens down, I'm answering your call. Forgive my sins, erase my shame. I'm crying out, Jesus, I'm calling your name. I've stumbled and I've fallen, but you never turned away. Your arms have always held me, even when I've gone astray. I'm unworthy of your kindness, but still you choose to stay. So if this is my last prayer, Lord, hear me when I say, oh, I'm broken, torn apart, but I know you mend the hardest heart. If this is my last prayer, Lord, take it all. I lay my burdens down, I'm answering your call. Forgive my sins, erase my shame. I'm crying out, Jesus, I'm calling your name. I surrender, I surrender. All I am, Lord, make me better. Take my heart and make it yours. I don't wanna hurt you anymore. If this is my last prayer, Lord, take it all. I lay my burdens down, I'm answering your call. Forgive my sins, erase my shame. I'm crying out, Jesus, I'm calling your name. This is my last prayer, hear my voice tonight. I'm clinging to your promise, Lord, to make it right.
Beautiful song. It is from Robert Sylvester Kelly, My Last Prayer. We are given a chance to say our last words. In fact, this is one thing they will get to remember about us. Have you ever been at a funeral, right? Every speech being given would be speeches of what the deceased have told someone in the past, or maybe the last conversation they had with the deceased. And it reminds me also of many times we have often considered that this should be my last moment of doing something. In that we feel like I'm saying this prayer. My challenges have been so big to an extent that I cannot find any way now. My past have been haunting me. I've been hoping for changes. But I pray this time around, Lord, if you truly exist, why not give me something different? And that is exactly what we are going to be talking of in today's edition of the Inspiration of the Soul. Our past might have been haunting us, and we feel like sometimes it is hard for us to push ahead again. But nevertheless, in today's edition, we are going to discover something special about we being spared for a second chance or second opportunities. Have you ever lost a job? You maybe before had a job and you lost that job. Do you know the experience you go through? I mean, that experience you have ever gone through, in that you wish if really God could give a chance for me to get another opportunity. This time round, you make a lot of promises. This time round, I will do this, do that, do that. That is what we are going to be talking of in today's edition of the Inspiration of the Soul. But for now,
do you know what God did for me? I was a lost man, driving down a dead-end road, heart full of trouble, carrying a heavy load. But mercy found me right there on my knees, whispered, son, I still got plans for thee. The bottle couldn't fill me, the money couldn't save. All I had left was a worn out name. But Jesus reached in and changed that scene. Do you know what God did for me? Do you know what God for me. He reached right down and set me free. He took my pain and turned my plea into a song of victory. He washed my soul in Calvary's stream, gave me peace in place of sin. Now I live in sweet harmony. Do you know what God did for me?
If God did this for someone, don't you think God will still equally do that same thing for you? If God turned a disappointment, a setback, if God brought your opportunity back, don't you think for the other people will also be brought back? That is precisely what we are going to be talking of in today's edition. Do I know what the Lord did for you? That would be another different set of questions. But I wish every testimony we have, it's a clear impression that this can still happen for someone else. If God did this for me, God can still equally do that for you. If God did that for the other individual, equally your time is coming. All you have to do is trust in the Lord. But precisely, today we are dedicating this inspiration of the soul to those who have gotten a setback in life. Maybe a time in the past, you were having a very fancy life. You had a job, you had a beautiful family, you had the businesses moving, but something happened to all of those things, and later you lost it all. We are going to be talking about why you are being spared, even amidst that disappointment, even amidst that setback. The people who started families thinking they were going to complete, but something happened along the way and they got divorced. But there's a reason why you've been spared. And this time round, we are going to discover why we are being spared for a second opportunity of something. If we had lost it, we have been spared for opportunity of getting it back again. But we are going to discover into full depths and full details. That is after this very special song from Zion Wave, I Rise from the Ashes. I'm dedicating it to those who had a setback and they rose back again. The book of Psalms 37 verse 24 says, those who trust in the Lord, even when they fall, they can still rise back again. When you fall, chances are that you will rise up again. And that is the inspiration in this beautiful song from Zion. From the ashes, I rise.
We rise from the ashes tonight. I've been broken, I've been torn, felt the fire, walked through the storm. But even in the flame, your love pulled me near, turned my pain into strength, erased all my fear. Now the chains fall away and the night turns to day. Every scar's a story told, every wound is healed by hope. But I rise from the ashes, stronger than before, stepping into your mercy, walking through the door. No fire can hold me, no storm take my song. I rise from the ashes, wherever I belong. Me say, trials come but me still press on. Your light light a guide when the night feel long. From the rubble me lift me eyes. New creation, my spirit rise. Your hand restore what the fire destroyed. Beauty for ashes, joy overboard. No more fear, no more shame. You've called me by name. Through the smoke I still see there's a crown waiting for me, yeah. From the ashes, stronger than before. Stepping in your mercy, walking through the door. No fire can hold me, no storm take my song. I rise from the ashes, wherever I belong. Grace is my anthem. Your love makes me whole. No weapon can stop me. My spirit is strong. I rise from the ashes. This is where I belong.
When you had a setback and you had the opportunity of getting back to your feet, what was your wish before when you had a setback? And what are some of the things you are now doing by the time you got the second opportunity of having that job maybe back, having that relationship again, or even venturing into something new, like a business that you first started, it collapsed and you had another opportunity of starting another one? What are some of the things you've observed? You rose from the ashes into greatness, right? Stronger, wiser and better. This is one thing that happens with most people who have encountered setbacks in life. We want to draw our inspirational text from the book of Luke chapter 22 verse 32. There's something special about the conversation between Jesus and Peter. Jesus told Peter that before the rooster crows 3 times, before the cock does the cock-a-little cock for 3 times, you would have denied me. You would have denied me. The moment it does that, you would have denied me 3 times as well. Peter felt Jesus was just kind of doing some propaganda. How comes? I'm so loyal to you, so faithful to you. But here comes a statement. Jesus continued by furthermore telling him that, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. It says, Luke chapter 22 verse 32. It says, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have returned back, strengthen your brothers. The highlight point is when you have turned back, when you have returned back, when you have gotten the next opportunity, when you had the second chance, when you had the courage again to try it again. We pray that this time round, this is the word of Jesus to Simon Peter. Yes, you will feel fear by the time I'm going to be arrested. And you will feel like by the time they're telling that you are also part of Jesus, you will say, no, I don't know that man. But I pray that the moment you realize that you are on the wrong, when you get back to your faith, keep that faith and strengthen your brothers and other disciples. And surely it will happen the way Jesus predicted. Of course, Simon denied that for 3 times, and the rooster crowed, and later that he recognized that I was surely on a wrong. It is true, I've denied Jesus, someone I've been with for several times. And by the time he recognized and confessed, that was like his second opportunity of having his faith back to him again. Now, Jesus was trying to tell Peter that although he will be doing or denying him 3 times, he has already prayed that Peter's faith must remain, and he should repent, as well as he should return back strong and wise and better. That second chance which was going to be given to him. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be talking about spared for a second chance to continue to meet our purpose and our callings and to fulfill certain things which has not been fulfilled. I earlier illustrated to you that when someone was having a job, he loses that job or she loses that job. Within that duration between having that job and not having that job, plus also getting that job in a later while, those 3 phases of life, they have different experience. I believe many people out there, you could have had the experience of this. Who is that someone who do not hope for a second chance? In fact, every one of us might be looking for a second chance in anything. We always wish to be given the second opportunity of everything, especially opportunities of becoming better when we had done a mess in the past. This is one thing that happens to us, most cases. We all are seeking for second opportunities in life. Let's say at a time you had a job, you were wasting every little money that came. Maybe by the time you had a business, you are not planning of enlarging your business. Like, after all, tomorrow I'll still make money. So you spend what you've made in this season, in this quarter, in this month, and you just waste it. You don't plan to reinvest. You neither don't. Just enjoy life. Just like one of these days. After all, tomorrow is still there. But by the time you're hoping for tomorrow to come, you wake up in the morning and you have lost everything. Now, that duration between you losing something and living without that thing makes you keep pondering. You're like, the next time if I'm to start a business, the next time if I'm to get a job, I swear I will invest every single money that comes out of my wage. I will do whatever it takes for me to maintain, reinvest, and save. Those are the things that keep coming at a time you are not yet having that job now. By the time you are having, yes, you are just not handling it very well. You are taking it as something, it's not that very important. You'll be like, after all, tomorrow is still there. But the moment you lose it, you now start interpreting why that thing was so important to you. And later, you realize that indeed, when I get this is what I'm going to do. People have a lot of wishes they have in life, that the next time I get a job, I will ensure I reinvest, I save, I plan for my kids, I give my family the best. You have all those wishes right now. And surely, when that time comes and you're given a second chance, you get a second job maybe. Precisely do whatever you had wished before by the time you are having a setback. This also applies to every level. At a family level, there are people who never gave the best to their families, but they would wish that maybe if their children could forgive them, or if maybe their parents could forgive them, this time around they're going to be well-disciplined children, or they're going to be responsible parents. It is happening with the community out there, and I surely believe you might be also part of that. Let's first speak of something very little here. There was a story which was published way back in many years ago. It is a story of a man who was those people who write articles in the newspaper. And this guy had a child. When this guy wrote an ad on the advert, like Patch or Pacho, which was a Spanish name, he wrote that, Pacho, come meet me in the newsroom office. You have been forgiven. Guess what? By noon, or by the time this guy wrote in the advert of the newspaper, over 200 children or 200 boys with the name of Pacho came to this newspaper room. Why? All those people shared the same name, but also those people all were looking for a second chance to be forgiven. Unfortunately, they did not specify who was this dad, who was this papa who was calling for a second chance to forgive the child. And that is exactly what is happening with most families one of these days. You would have a wish that maybe if I could speak to my children again, I will do the best I can do for them, and I will forget what happened in the past, what I did not do well for them. But if I'm given a second chance this time, I will do my best as a parent, or I will do my best as a child to someone. It is the second chance we are talking of. Let's continue by concluding this by telling you some insights of why you have been spared for a second chance or a second opportunity to fulfill certain things you have not fulfilled, to meet your callings in life, and to fulfill certain things which has not yet been fulfilled. That is why you have been spared up to this very time. Even amidst the setbacks, even amidst the disappointment, even amidst the failures, even amidst the losses, even amidst the divorce you have encountered in life, it is not what defines you. What defines you is that you have been spared to make things right the next time you get that opportunity. And you have been spared for that second opportunity of everything. Nelson Mandela one time stated that every saint has a past, but every sinner has a future. What he was meaning that everyone in life has a past, something that has happened to them in the past. But above all, everyone has the opportunity of changing their past as well. This is what Nelson Mandela was meaning by the quote, every saint has got a past, but every sinner has a future. This time round, you want to make things better, right? Your wishes, the time that you're having a setback, you had a job, you lost it. We are talking of the space between losing that job and staying without that job. That stress that comes, that promise that you will always make, that word that you will always say, if I'm to get a chance this time round, I promise I will do this, this and this and that. You have all those wishes, and every human who has gotten a setback has got those wishes. What is called recognizing. You had recognized something which was an error in the past, and you would wish to correct that error the next time you are given an opportunity. And this happened to many people, just like for the case of Peter that we read from the memory text, and also King Solomon. After him being blessed, after him having the knowledge and wisdom, he ended up now confessing in the book of Ecclesiastes, Proverbs, and other chapters of the Bible about this second opportunity he had gotten. In fact, the Bible has very many examples of that. And equally, you as well also might be part of what would be going through right now. But as we conclude, allow me to tell you that when you got an opportunity for the second time, you bounced back stronger, wiser, and better. That is the key differentiator. Before, you had a business, before you had a job, but you are not doing anything like saving, reinvesting, or anything that can build you up. You are like, after all, tomorrow is still there. But this time round, the next time you get that second opportunity, you now change everything. If you are not reinvesting, this time round you are investing. If you are not saving, this time round, you would be saving, because you had bounced back stronger, wiser, and better. That is what the power of second chances holds for us, and that is why we have been spared up to this time, because of those second chances we need to get in order to correct what has not been good in the past. As we conclude, if you don't remember your past, you are condemned to repeat the same thing. If chances are that you are getting that next opportunity from now, if you don't remember what gave you a setback in the past, you are condemned to repeat the same thing by the time you get the second opportunity. At the moment you get the opportunity, this time around, you need to be someone who has to analyze what brought you a setback in the past and how you should correct it right now when you have a second chance. And also, above all, you shouldn't miss your relationship with God, your creator. I guess that is why we have to conclude this series of Spared for a Calling.